From South Carolina Public Radio, this is the South Carolina Lede. I'm your host, Gavin Jackson, and this episode was recorded on January 16th, 2026 from South Carolina Public Radio Studios here in Columbia. On this episode of the Lede, we are back in session, and we are recapping the first week of the 2026 legislative session, which was jam-packed with meetings and action and inaction on big bills right out of the gate. We're talking about abortion, DUI, bathrooms, taxes, DOT modernization, a federal balanced budget amendment, everything you've heard previously from House Speaker Merle Smith and Senate Republican leadership, and more. That's right. There have also been some campaign trail updates, but I'm going to save those for Tuesdays because this pod is so packed. And just a note, we'll be taking next week off because we're going to Davos. Just kidding. But we are on baby watch for AT, so just a heads up if there are any disruptions to our production schedule, and of course, Davos. Get the lead jet fueled up. Also, please check out the State House Gavel at scetv.org/thegavel, where Tuesday through Friday, Maya and Schechter and myself bring you recaps, previews, big and small State House moments, meeting schedule highlights, photos, video, and more. And I'll be incorporating some of that work into the pod because I'm one man. And of course, the Lede loves hearing from everyone. That's why we have a voicemail box set up at 803-563-7169. So you can give us your hot takes, your thoughts, your questions. Have your pipes burst yet? Drip that water. It's very cold. 803-563-7169. It's warm in here, folks. Okay, let's take a walk through the week in chronological order. Sorta.
Okay, then.
Okay. On Monday, Governor Henry McMaster unveiled his final executive budget proposal. 8 years ago, McMaster noted starting teacher pay in the state was only above $30,000. And part of that root cause, but not the only reason, was that teachers were fleeing the classroom. Now, the governor is asking the legislature to spend $150 million to raise the state's starting teacher pay to $50,500. That's an ask that House Speaker Merle Smith indicated his chamber will support, and if passed into the budget by both chambers, this will be one of McMaster's landmark achievements. He's been pushing for $50,000 starting teacher pay since he's been in there. And of course, other teachers are paid at different rates, but this is just to create that baseline. He's also asking for a couple of other things that we've talked about and some things we haven't, including $1.1 billion to help speed up road and interstate construction. Pretty much all that is one-time money. Remember, there's a lot of one-time dollars floating around. He's also asking for $107 million to cut the state's top income tax rate from 6% to 5.9%, a little reduction. $61 million to increase the number of students receiving vouchers to 20,000. Nearly $10 million to expand full-day 4K in private centers, as well as $9 million to offer all public school students free breakfast. This is a new one. This is a big initiative. Think about it. Roads, $1.1 billion. Breakfast, $9 million. What's the ROI on that, guys? Let me know. Also, $39 million to freeze in-state college and university tuition for another year for those in-state students, and $115 million for a cancer hospital at the Medical University of South Carolina. More on that in February, but that's just part of the funding that they need. And about $34 million to cover federal changes in match requirements for the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, SNAP benefits, and there's much more in that budget request as well. Now, additionally, McMaster wants the General Assembly to require that the State Revenue and Fiscal Affairs Office begin a comprehensive study on how the state's population surge will affect infrastructure, energy, education, water, and government services over the coming decades. Economists expect our population to hit 6.6 million people by 2040. Here's the governor.
Left unaddressed, our state may face future problems with water and sewer access, traffic congestion, road and bridge repair, demand for electric power generation, public safety, school overcrowding, and health care availability. So we've got to do some thinking. So I'm proposing that we have a thorough analysis to determine if our state's infrastructure and government services will be able to keep pace. Will be able to keep pace if the population continues to grow as it is. We know that if you can't measure it, you can't manage it. So we want to measure it as best we can to see how we need to react and what we can expect. My budget directs the Office of Revenue and Fiscal Affairs to hire the best and brightest experts they can find in the country to conduct a comprehensive analysis to measure the impacts of the 10 and 20-year projected population growth, industrial growth, other growth, water usage, all of those things on South Carolina's infrastructure and essential government services.
I asked McMaster whether appropriating budget surplus money is the best way to meet SCDOT's funding needs versus something more sustainable.
It's not enough, but I think that's all we can take out of this budget. That's one-time money. But I hope there'll be more one-time money in the next year and the next year and the next year.
That's the best way to backfill this agency.
Whatever it does to backfill, to get these roads built, we have to take money from wherever we can.
Now, again, that's the governor's budget proposal. Keyword proposal. He doesn't really drive the train. It's just his outline of priorities that he sends to the legislature. Now, of course, as you've been following along under his tenure, a lot of those things do come to fruition. He works with them to get these wins. That's how the governor has governed over his tenure. But we will see what happens with the House Ways and Means Committee. That's where the budget starts. But again, a lot of similarity, a lot of overlap that we've seen in the past few legislative sessions between the governor and the House and the Senate. So that's that collaboration that the governor talks about. Team South Carolina right there, folks. Speaking of committees, the SCDOT Modernization Ad Hoc Committee met twice this week as it continues to craft legislation that should drop next week and move to the Ways and Means Committee, again, in a bid to get that comprehensive bill to the floor as that committee begins its budget writing process, which is already underway with subcommittee hearings for state agency requests. Now, these early days/weeks are critical to get ahead of the mid-March budget floor debate. We're going to have some jam-packed weeks and Wednesdays coming forward. I can't wait. You can see those schedules at scstatehouse.gov. You know, you can see it. It's there. We're not hiding it. We saw more refinement on that language for the upcoming SCDOT bill on Thursday, but everything is still in draft. However, we expect to see a few major things happen, including a more streamlined permitting process for major projects, a continued reduction in regulations, a restructuring of the SCDOT Commission, an increase in EV fees, approval for tolling across the state, the ability to create hot lanes, greater oversight of the agency's internal auditor, and better oversight of county transportation committees, among other things. And again, those CTCs, if you want your little local road fixed, go to your county transportation committee and tell them that. That's where it starts, folks. Moving on, a Senate Judiciary Subcommittee amended S-52. That's a bill Senate leaders say will strengthen the state's DUI laws. The bill was advanced by the full Senate Judiciary Committee and now heads to the floor. Senate Majority Leader Shane Massey of Edgefield has said that this legislation will be a priority, and true to form, it was set for special order on Thursday, which means it will have floor debate priority status next week. Yeah, it's got gold status. I can get into the lounge here. I spent $900 in fees just to use this Chase Sapphire Reserve Lounge. Okay, I travel a lot for work. Now that's what a tangent. Now this bill builds upon liquor liability laws and the strengthened DUI ignition interlock law of 2024. Pretty much if you get a DUI in the state, guys, regardless, for the most part, you're getting a DUI ignition interlock in your car. So think twice, save a life. Don't drink and drive. Click it, don't ticket. It's different, but don't do it. Let them work, let them live. That's still different, but let's do it. It's all related, guys. Do your part. A Senate Finance Subcommittee revisited the Heritage Act. You might know that as the 2000 law that was part of the compromise to move the Confederate flag from the dome of the State House to in front of the State House by protecting certain American wars, Native American and African American monuments, statues, and road names on public grounds and buildings from being removed or altered without a 2/3 vote by the legislature. That's what it took to get the Confederate flag off the State House grounds in 2015. You need 2/3 of the legislature. Now, the bill S-508 would expand what falls under the law and give greater powers to groups to sue to stop removal. The bill advanced to the full Senate Finance Committee with opposition from the Municipal Association and the Association of Counties, with both saying that their members believe it will preempt local authority. Senators say the bill will likely be amended. The same Senate Finance Subcommittee also advanced a bill S-768, which was filed by Finance Committee Chairman Harvey Peeler of Cherokee, and that would increase the homestead exemption from $50,000 to $100,000 and lower the age from 65 to 60. The cost? I'm glad you asked. Roughly $245 million. Now, senators on the panel ultimately voted to advance the proposal, but offered concerns around the increased aging population growth in the state. Let's look at taxes, huh?
Sounds interesting.
You guys want to talk about taxes?
Go ahead.
A bill. Okay, fine. A bill to flatten and make the state's income tax more equitable passed a Senate Finance Subcommittee on Wednesday. This is that House-approved bill H 4216 that drops the current 6% income tax, that's the top rate, to 5.39% on income above $30,000. For income below that level, the rate goes to 1.99%. But what about getting to zero income tax, you ask me? Under this bill, if income tax revenue growth exceeds 5% in a year, then $200 million, or 25% of that income tax growth, is used to further reduce the top rate until it reaches 1.99%. Once it reaches that 1.99%, the same reduction formula is used until the rate reaches zero. So now what's next? Well, the bill now heads to the full Senate Finance Committee, and if passed in this form, the changes would take effect in the next tax year for filing in 2027. So we will see. Now going to the Senate chamber on Wednesday, they passed the House's concurrent resolution 3007 that would let the state call upon Congress under Article 5 of the U.S. Constitution for a convention of states to propose a balanced budget amendment to the Constitution. This makes South Carolina the 28th state to approve a measure. 34 states are needed to trigger a convention, which has never happened. Now, a concurrent resolution is not a bill and does not go to the governor. It is an expression of intent. This was passed by voice vote, though 3 Republican senators did note in the Journal that they objected to the bill. 2 of those senators, Tom Corbin and Lee Bright, voiced concerns on the floor about a potential runaway constitutional convention. Here's Corbin speaking with Senate Majority Leader Shane Massey, who said anything passed by a constitutional convention would need to be ratified by 38 states, providing a safeguard.
I have always been a bit trepidatious about calling for conventions because of the fear of runaway conventions. What's your thought?
Well, Senator, I think, number one, I think you can confine it. Number two, even
what makes you think that, Senator?
Because I think the call specifically says that we're limiting it to this purpose, and if it goes beyond that scope, then I think then our call is rescinded. But let's take that off the board. Let's say they go crazy. The ultimate backstop is no matter what that convention produces, it requires 38 states to ratify the amendment. And very candidly, I'm not sure that 38 states would agree on a resolution commemorating Mother's Day. Right? So if it does anything that's too crazy, there's no way you're going to get 38 states to ratify it.
Well, that's what I'm wrapping my mind around. A minute ago, you said, did you know that it couldn't get too crazy? And now you're saying if it gets too crazy.
I don't think it can, but to your concern that it may, my response to that, if that were to happen, and I don't think that would happen because I think you can confine it.
Over in the House, we're talking about abortion. It was another day of long lines that snaked around the House Blot Building for a hearing over 2 bills related to further restricting abortion access. The first, H 4760, was filed by House Judiciary Committee Chairman Weston Newton, who's Republican from Beaufort, and that advanced to the full committee. Now, that bill would toughen penalties for anyone who obtains abortion-inducing drugs like mifepristone or misoprostol. And that'd be without a prescription. So the bill would reclassify the pharmaceuticals as Schedule 4 drugs, and a person convicted of violating the proposed change would be guilty of a felony. So that would be new, and they'd also face up to 5 years in prison and or be fined no more than $500. In South Carolina, it's already illegal for telehealth providers to prescribe and mail the medication. And a lot of testimony from healthcare workers was that this would make it more complicated to prescribe and get these drugs to folks because it become a controlled substance. Like we're saying, it's getting scheduled. Now, you'll still be able to obtain these drugs. It'll just become more difficult for them to be prescribed, in a sense, from these providers. But state public health data shows that of the 3,025 abortions done in 2024, medication abortions totaled 2,252. That's about 84% of all the abortions done. Chairman Newton told us that they're still working on scheduling a full committee hearing on the bill. Meanwhile, a bill H 3537, which was filed by Representative Rob Harris, Republican from Spartanburg, would outlaw abortions in the state. And of course, the state already has a 6-week ban on the books. And that bill did not advance. And it's unclear and also unlikely if the bill will get another hearing anytime soon. That bill would also classify an abortion as an unlawful homicide and would strip out abortion exceptions, which many Republicans in both chambers have not been interested in supporting. So there is a limit here, folks, and that's what this is. Our 6-week abortion law with up to 12 weeks for exceptions is about as far as folks can go. We've seen this play out despite all the discussion, the press conferences, the rallies, the rhetoric. Unless there's any drastic changes in the future, don't expect to see any big abortion bills besides this medication bill moving forward. Now, before that abortion-inducing drug hearing, there was one held to receive testimony on a bill that would codify a proviso that has been passed for 2 years that requires public schools to designate multi-occupancy restrooms and changing facilities for use by a single biological sex, mandating that students that use these facilities match the sex that they were assigned at birth. So it's your classic bathroom bill situation here. Again, we've been passing this in budget proviso, which is a 1-year proviso, 1-year law essentially, and this legislation would just codify that. Now, testimony will continue to be gathered next week, so it's still in a House Judiciary Subcommittee. Also, a subcommittee hearing taking up bills on municipal elections, closed primaries, and voter registration has been moved to next Wednesday. It's a spicy one. Speaking of smiling faces and beautiful places, House Speaker Merle Smith swore in 4 new members to the chamber. Representative Diane Mitchell, Republican from Greenville, Representative Greg Ford, a Republican from Dorchester, Representative John Lastinger, who's a Republican from Lexington, and Representative Keyshawn Scott, who's a Democrat from Lee. Over in the Senate, Senate President Thomas Alexander swore in the newest senator and a familiar name, Senator Lee Bright, who's a Republican from Spartanburg. Now, with all these new legislators in office, it means that for the first time in months, the General Assembly has its official capacity of 170 members. We're at capacity, folks. Standing room only. Meanwhile, 2 House Democrats have announced they are not seeking re-election this fall. Now, we won't be below capacity because they're still here, but they're just not seeking re-election. A lot of people aren't going to be seeking re-election, but we're looking at capacity. It's still looking pretty good. Now, those 2 are including Folly Beach Representative Spencer Wetmore, she's a Democrat from Folly Beach, and Hopkins Representative Jermaine Johnson, who is running for the Democratic nomination for governor. He jumped into that race last October, and we asked him at the time if he was also run for his House seat, which he could do. And now we know that he's not going to, which means he's all in on his race for governor. Here's one of 2 people running for the Democratic nomination. The other is Charleston attorney Mullins McLeod. Speaking of Democrats, I know I gave you big preview interviews with House and Senate Republican leadership, and I'm sure you're wondering,
where are the Dems at?
Don't worry. God, stop writing the emails. I'll have sit-downs with House and Senate Dems next week that we will bring you. We will, I promise. But Senate Democratic members, led by Senate Minority Leader Brad Hutto of Orangeburg, did hold a press conference on Thursday where they unveiled their South Carolina Family Protection Act. That's Bill S-825. Now, it would in part offer more tax credits for families, start an office within the Department of Administration geared towards families, caregivers, and underserved workers, and the proposal would exempt certain items related to childbirth, like diapers, from the state's sales tax. Here's Hutto.
Too many parents are making impossible choices between work and family, and too many caregivers are carrying the load on their own. This legislation provides targeted tax relief for working families and caregivers. It cuts sales tax on essential baby and maternal health items like diapers, wipes, and prenatal vitamins. It expands access to affordable childcare and after-school programs so parents can work and kids are safe. It strengthens maternal and mental health care, including 12 months of postpartum coverage and expanded telebehavioral health care. It increases access to affordable housing with long-term affordability requirements. Every major program that we're rolling out today has guardrails, it sunsets, it has oversight, it protects the taxpayers. We are ensuring that we have accountability in this bill with annual reporting so that we can see what's working and what might need to be improved. In closing, this is about supporting the families of South Carolina, strengthening communities, and protecting taxpayers. It's practical, physically responsible, and focused on results and not slogans. As we approach this year's budget, we know that we have the ability to give targeted tax cuts to some individuals, and nobody deserves this more than the working families of South Carolina. They're facing an affordability crisis when it comes to everyday living, and they're facing that impractical choice between having to decide whether they can afford child care or get into the workforce. This bill attempts to address those problems.
And former Lexington Republican Representative R.J. May was sentenced to 17 and a half years in federal prison following his guilty plea to 5 counts of distributing child sexual abuse material. A federal judge also ordered him to pay $58,500 in restitution to 8 victims who submitted requests. Now, Mayan Schechter was there in the courtroom, and she says that emotional May told the court Wednesday that he took responsibility for his crimes, acknowledging that he lived a double life, saying, quote, "I was talking about moral decency by day and succumbed to moral indecency by night," quote. May is the former co-founder of the far-right South Carolina House Freedom Caucus, which he co-chaired for years. And he asked for a reduced sentence of 5 years. Prosecutors asked for 20, and the judge gave him 17 and a half. Welcome to the Wind Down section, our little break from the news. We're glad you're here, along with A.T. our lead podcast producer.
Hello, everybody.
Wind Down.
I'm sorry I couldn't be in the legislative previews.
Oh, my God.
They didn't want me in there. Okay, folks? Gavin he's toast after this first week.
I am bonking.
But Gavin, okay, we got a call.
Okay.
All right?
Okay.
We're going to play it. It's from over the holidays, and we're just getting to it, okay?
Okay.
It's from, actually, January 6th. Okay, are you ready?
Yes.
Here we go.
Well, Happy New Year. This is Abby and Robert on Salem Festival Time. We are at this moment on the northwest coast of St. Vincent's. But as soon as Robert gets back from customs and clearing out, we will be headed on an overnighter to Martinique. We had a fantastic Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year in Deckway, which is an island on the south end of St. Vincent's, and that's where the cruisers hang out. It is like adult summer camp. So we were busy with hikes and pub crawls and ladies' coffee and beach floats and just whatever the day might bring. It's a great life down here. Anyway, Happy New Year and congratulations on number 2 child on its way. We'll look forward to hearing all about that and how Big Sister feels about having competition. And I was wondering, is there any way that I could possibly send photographs? So just let me know, and I could send you some pictures of our harbor and et cetera, et cetera. Anyway, Happy New Year, and we will talk soon. Bye.
Oh, I love hearing from our captains out there, Abby and Robert on SV Time?
SV Time.
SV Time.
Amazing.
I love that. I love that we always get that update. And I have to feel like, they are listening and calling. They're probably in the harbor, so there's internet, but satellite connectivity just to call.
Sat phones.
Was that the best advertisement for retirement? Every time they check it, I'm just like,
oh, I should drop out of my life. Yeah.
Martinique.
These kids don't need me. The islands do.
They're down there, and Martinique isn't it's still in the vicinity of Caracas. And the military, the American military buildup in the Caribbean. So I'm like, I wonder if they've been seeing these big ships coming through and all that fun stuff.
It's a bunch of
fun stuff in quotes.
Massive boats,
war vessels. No wake zone, all right?
And then party flotillas, it sounds like, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It's amazing.
Meanwhile.
Yeah. But of course, you can text us pictures all you want and just truly rub in the lifestyle in our face,
It's a wonderful checking in. I swear one of these days we're going to have to get down there and do a live taping.
We got to be on the boat one day. We have to. Thank you for calling. We also got a text from them, and she loved Merle's walk-up song.
Yes.
So.
Oh, yeah. A lot of people talking about Merle's walk-up song, Big Pimpin'. I will say that I talked to him this week, and he was like...
We have some clarifications.
He couldn't think of the Biggie song Hypnotize in time, but... To his credit, just to whip out Big Pimpin'. We didn't give him that question before, folks.
No, it's a solid number 2
much
choice.
to the chagrin, is that the right word I want to hear? Of his comms people.
Yes.
I'm like, let Merle be Merle. Let Bartlett be Bartlett.
He's cooking, folks. Well, Gavin, you've had a big week.
Busy first week back. Last week was crazy too. So the climate, we had the Republicans sit down, we had Merle sit down, then I talked to MUSC leadership. It was a wild week. But again, I was off for 2 weeks, so I've been, what we do in December, late November is totally prepare for January.
He was steeling himself
get
for this.
ready, a lot of namaste because it gets insane.
Yeah.
So that was
Many
last week.
ohms.
It didn't slow down this week because
Folks, it didn't stop,
I hate
folks.
the breaking news here. Because it's insane. It's the first day of school. Everyone's all ramped up, and we're doing live stuff. I don't know if you guys watch this on ETV World, but me and Mayan are doing live cut-ins at the start of each session
It's
day.
great, folks.
For about 5 or so minutes, just kind of
Just
reading.
to put eyes on the old boy.
Just
It's
to read
great.
the State House gavel and promote the gavel if you're not reading
Yeah.
it. And so we got to do that. I'm covering more committee meetings now. It's been wild times. It's great.
Wild
It's
times,
good to
folks.
press the flesh and see the folks.
Yeah.
But it reminds me of just how much of a creature I am for all this. This is like
Sure.
my 11th session now, which is sad to admit.
Yeah.
But fun.
Your Pavlovian dog
And
to the
it all
bell.
comes back, and
Yeah.
everyone's like, "Oh, like how much it influences my life outside of like the half of the year." Like, yes, I go to the gym early in the morning because I have to. Because if you don't, then you'll never do it in the afternoon.
Because you're wiped.
And like you're just running around like all this stuff you have to do, like meal prepping. And I will say, we've talked about this before. GJ was eating slop before slop became cool.
He was at the cutting edge of the slop bowl revolution.
It's like
he shovels the slop straight out of his trough into his mouth, and then he gets back in there creating shareholder value. Yeah.
Like, and I'm talking like your chilies, rice, and some like spinach, right? It's no frills. It's just to keep going. And
It's a feed. Shout out Towner.
I thought of you this week when I'm in the control room of the State House in between meetings, and like I'm just shoveling, and I know I can eat fast in a normal setting when people see me.
Yeah.
But if people are not around, it's disgusting.
Shameless shoveling.
Mainlining this.
Yeah.
Okay, I got to get back out there. And it's like, and it just reminds me of like running around the campaign trail, running around the State House. And then another big thing happened. I have not told you about this yet.
Great.
I'm hesitant to tell anyone about this. I told Amy and Mayan.
Yeah, so now we're just going to tell a few thousand people that listen to
Because
this
I'm
show,
comfortable.
right?
I think we're all friends.
Hey,
here.
we're friends here, bro.
Nothing negative happened out of it besides personal shame.
Sure.
But I've been to this mind now recently where I'm like, I need to bring an extra suit. And a whole backup suit in case I get something on me.
I already like where this is
in
going.
In case something happens, because you're stuck at the State House. I can't run.
Yeah.
So
I can't run.
I need to like
The slop I've just eaten?
Oh, good.
Yeah.
I need a bib is what I need. I need a nice
smock.
But it was not that. I did not spill something on myself. I did not spill Celsius on
I'm
myself.
trying to guess before
Instead, I'm in the control room. I'm packing stuff up.
Celsius.
I'm wearing my like Italiano cut suit, so it's a little bit more snug, and I've been working out more. Obviously.
All right. Yeah.
So I'm not like caked up like you heated rivalry people here, but there's probably something going on there. Anyway, I'm crouching down, putting stuff in my bag, and then all of a sudden, the seam rips.
Yes.
Luckily, we are at the end of the legislative day. I'm like, oh, good God.
You backed up to the wall immediately
Now-
and slowly got out. Yeah.
No one's around, thank God.
Yeah.
But this has happened to my twin Colin. We were at a family wedding.
So it's a genetic thing.
Colin's packing a bit more.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he rips the seam, but it's different when you're at the wedding with your family. It just doesn't matter.
Jackson's got that wagon. Yeah.
This, I'm like, oh my God, how am I going to make it from here across the first floor lobby, down the escalator to my car without anyone possibly seeing this?
I think you got to Emperor New Clothes it and just like strut your stuff and be like, oh, the rage is ripped pants, folks.
Do I take my suit jacket
like
and
SpongeBob.
tie it around my waist? No.
Oh, I thought you did.
No,
It's a look.
That would bring even more attention to the matter. So I'm like, here I am. I'm like, I got my little camera, my cell phone camera down low. I'm like shooting a video. I'm like, if I walk normally, is it obvious? And it was like, I wasn't still comfortable with it. But then I was like, oh, I'm just going to grab one of my big camera bags, sling it low across the bag.
Sling low,
hold
sweet
it,
chariot, baby.
And then just walk through the lobby. And I have this dirty secret.
You're walking like you're fast walking to not miss a plane. Yeah.
So luckily, I didn't come across too many people. No one the wiser. But like, oh my God, I'm like, and that was the backup suit that I had taken instead of bringing in.
Weak seams.
So I fell prey to my own planning there. So a lot going on, and this weekend I'll be freezing my tush off up at Calpins.
Hopefully
we're going to be doing the Revolutionary
the
War
seams
reenactment.
hold, yeah.
Well, I tell you, as I'm a new Costco member, I'm shopping for my clothes at Costco again, buying clothes off of a crate.
That's so depressing,
It's
dude.
truly depressing.
The
but
piles in the middle.
Well, this is the worst part too. So I came across these Caterpillar canvas khaki-looking pants, right? But
Caterpillar,
they're-
like the tractor
yes,
company.
They also now
Okay.
make clothing that I've purchased
Sure.
because it
Trying to
was
get down the Carhartt stuff.
flannel lined, and I'm like, There are a few times a year that I need that.
King Day at the Dome.
King Day at the Dome.
King Day at the Dome.
Always notoriously the coldest day of the year.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, oh, I'm going to be covering this reenactment. Mind you, this was when like the temperatures the other week were like 70 degrees.
Yeah,
I'm at Costco
gorgeous.
in a tank top.
Yeah. Naturally.
Filing through to get a pair of these pants. They were $20. And I'm like, it's going to come in handy. And here we are now, folks. So I'll give you a review about that.
Imagine if you had those pants when you tore your seam.
There'd be no tearing there. Not with those rivets. Look at this stitching, folks.
It's so good to be back.
It's great.
It's so good to be back. Anyway, Gavin, say the outro. Have a good week.
Give us a shout like Abby and Robert at 803-563-7169. We love hearing from you guys. And you can always leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts from. And you can stay up to date with the latest news on SCETV.org and SouthCarolinaPublicRadio.org. And don't forget to support your local newspapers. The South Carolina Lead is a production of South Carolina Public Radio. Our producer is A.T. Shire. Amy Crouch is our supervising producer. Sean Birch is our executive producer. This podcast is produced with support from PRX and is made possible in part by a grant from the John S. and James L. Knight Foundation, as well as listener contributions to the ETV Endowment of South Carolina. For the South Carolina Lead, I'm Gavin Jackson. Be well, South Carolina. Yeah, I know. I'm gonna get your the edit. I'm like, ooh, hey, I know you're still probably doing stuff, but I just listened, and I know I don't usually listen to the edit, but
I don't like it. Yeah, I don't like it. I don't like it.
I kind of see what those guys are talking about now, and I kind of feel the same way.